As people age, there are certain physiological changes that just occur naturally. Some of them we can have some control over altering. Some of them are just going to be a part of the aging process. So in your book, Table 16-2 outlines these different changes, and maybe I'll highlight just a few of these, but you definitely want to be familiar with what's happening to the physiological changes that might relate to eating and nutrition. So things like definitely appetite goes down. There are some physiological changes that happen that really lead to decreased sensation of hunger and physiological sense of hunger. So appetite does go down. So everything they eat really needs to be very nutrient dense to ensure that they're getting the nutrients that they need to keep their body functioning well. Sensation of taste and smell also goes down. So there's changes in taste buds and in what is involved in smell. And then we might also see that there will be difficulties with swallowing or chewing, and they might even have dentures, so dentition issues that then can actually lead to concerns with eating and the types of foods they can eat. So if they are only using gums or some teeth to be able to eat, if let's say they don't have their molars, they're going to have more issues with being able to grind food. So they may choose soft foods over anything that is a harder texture, which may limit their nutrient intake. Sense of thirst actually goes down. So this can be concerning because it can lead to dehydration. If they don't feel the sense of thirst, they may go past the time of that first indicator of dehydration and actually lead to further, more severe dehydration. So we have to have strategies of how can we help older adults remember to consume more fluids or make it more conscious in their day or give them visual reminders to increase fluid intake. Some other things here too, I would say, is thinking about lean tissue and bone mass. So some of these things both of those things are decreasing as we age, and then we also see that with that we can have increased risk for falls, and then also negative consequences from those falls. Those are things, though, that hopefully through nutrition we can actually try to maintain lean muscle mass as well as bone tissue by ensuring that we get the nutrients like protein and vitamin D and calcium in levels that we need in order to maintain that muscle mass and bone mass. Because of some of those physiological changes and also other things that might happen in older adults in the environment, we actually can see that older adults become at increased risk for malnutrition. This is one assessment tool that is used to look at what are parameters that put an older adult at risk for malnutrition. So you want to be familiar with these general concepts of things that can increase someone's risk. So thinking if they have some kind of a chronic illness or disease that can change how much they're eating. Maybe they're eating poorly for various reasons. Maybe it's because of decreased appetite. Maybe it's they have difficulty preparing foods, or maybe they are forgetting to eat, things like that. But any reason that's leading to eating fewer than what we want foods than we want them to from different food groups would be classified as potential for eating poorly. If they have some kind of tooth loss or mouth pain, that might affect their eating. If they have an economic hardship, so they might be on a fixed income, and maybe they have extra expenses that come in. They don't have the money to be able to purchase the food that they need. Maybe they are widowed and they don't have a lot of family around or close friends, and so they have reduced social contact, which may affect eating. They might be on multiple medications, which changes sensation of taste or smell that can lead to influencing food intake. They might have some type of involuntary weight loss or gain, and in the past short while that it's concerning. And then whether or not the person is able to shop, cook, or feed him or herself, or if they need assistance. All of these things can lead to concerns about malnutrition. The more a person has of concerns with these different areas, the higher nutrition risk they have for not being well nourished. This is a Myplate icon that was developed by Tufts University, and you can see that it is giving more specificity on examples of types of foods to consume in different food groups, and then it's also adding a few more things here. So something that's not on the other Myplate is fluids. So fluids, like we mentioned before, decrease sense of thirst. We want to make sure that they're getting adequate fluids in their diet to ensure that they're not becoming dehydrated. So showing that there are lots of different types of fluids that in older adults, that becomes important. Staying active becomes important for maintaining lean body mass and maintaining bone. And we'll come back to this again in just a minute. And then you can see, thinking about different types of food forms, it may be easier for individuals to have canned products. They might be more affordable in some cases, or just easier to prepare, more convenient. And then thinking about the importance of getting good protein sources, as well as all the other recommendations we have, which are whole grains and half your plate fruits and vegetables. Sometimes we do recommend supplements for older adults. We know that B12 absorption, vitamin B12 absorption may not be as good as in older adults. We also know that they may not be getting as much sun exposure. We also know that the even sunlight that they are exposed to, their body is not going to be as efficient at converting that cholesterol form in the skin to active vitamin D. And then also they may just not be getting enough in their diet. So in some cases, there may be individuals that really could benefit from a supplement that contains B12, vitamin D, and calcium, close to 100% of what's recommended based on their age and the DRIs. So I mentioned before that we mentioned this physical activity, some of the benefits. There definitely are numerous benefits. So all the benefits we talked about in the physical activity section are definitely going to be here as well. Some of the ones we really especially think about is maintaining lean muscle mass, maintaining bone mass. We also think of its ability to help with balance and decreasing risk for falls or injuries with falls. We also can think of prevention of chronic diseases and all of those things that we've talked about with like I said, with the physical activity section. So we definitely want to recommend that older adults engage in physical activity, including some resistance training, which will again help to think about increasing muscle mass. And also thinking about the benefit it would have on bone. That's the end of this section. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or to the TAs.